Today is Friday, April 18th. It is 9:01 a.m. and we will call this meeting to order for the Arizona State.
This meeting is being recorded.
Thank you, Bryce. All right, we'll start this meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance led by Floyd Clark.
Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Floyd. Karen, would you conduct the roll call, please?
Chair Daniels,
Here.
Vice Chair Maxwell,
Present.
Board Member Howard, Present. Board Member Elters,
Present.
Board Member Peschlikai,
Here.
Board Member Searle.
Present.
Madam, you have a quorum, you may proceed.
Yeah, we have everybody here. Thank you so much. This is great. And thank you to the City of Benson for hosting us today. It's a beautiful place to be and very, very grateful to be here. I know that some of the other board members also have opening remarks. Let's have those come right after Floyd reads us the Title VI Civil Rights Act.
Pursuant to Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Americans with Disability Act, the Arizona State Transportation Board and ADOT do not discriminate on the basis of race, color, national origin, or disability. No person will be excluded from participation in, be denied the benefit of, or be otherwise subjected to discrimination under any Arizona State Transportation Board or ADOT program or activity. To assist in measuring the public's participation, we ask each person to please complete an online self-identification survey, and the link to that survey is on the agenda. For those present, there are survey cards at the entrance to the council chambers. Please fill out a card and leave it there. We'll pick it up at the end of the meeting. By completing this voluntary survey, ADOT will be able to determine who attends this public meeting and how the department can improve participation. Survey will also help ADOT fulfill federal reporting requirements. Thank you.
Thank you, Floyd. To the State Transportation Board, if you have any comments you'd like to add, I know Board Member Elters.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, everyone. Just wanted to say that I participated in the Kartchner Caverns tour yesterday with a group of individuals. The experience was spectacular. It truly was awesome. The weather couldn't have been better. Enjoyed it tremendously. I think what was really unique, though, that added to that experience was that we toured it with Mr. Charles Etherly. He's in the audience here, he's in the front. Charles is Miss Karen's father, but Charles also has worked, and continues to work for the state park for over 50 years. He started when he was very young. But, hearing his insight before, during, and after as to how it was discovered, the time it took while they kept it a secret, and then the legislation that they had to enact to purchase and secure the property, and did so without telling the legislature what it was all about. Imagine that in this day and age, getting something past the legislature without telling them what it is. His insight, his experience, his comments truly added to the experience. I couldn't be more happy and grateful. I really enjoyed it. It left an impression and will always stay with me. So thank you, Ken, and thank you, Charles, for making it a memorable experience. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, if I could real quick before we go, and I know our IT folks are working on the issue, but if you are logged in with Wi-Fi on a separate device, please make sure you have your microphone turned off so we don't get any feedback. Thank you.
Board Member Searle.
Well, welcome to my backyard, and really appreciate Benson hosting this meeting this morning. Sam, I'm glad you were able to make the tour. Kartchner Caverns is really one of Arizona's secrets that everybody should experience. And as I was calling our friends from Maricopa, welcome to one of the most beautiful spots. And one of the things about Benson, I think a lot of people don't realize, is there's a movie set right back up here on the road, Mescal movie set. And there's been a number of movies, and you can usually tell it because of the background of the Dragoon Mountains and Cochise Stronghold back up here. And it's kind of a giveaway. And so as you're going back to Tucson, you can look in your rear view mirrors and you can see it. But anyhow, it's a wonderful area, and I represented this area for 12 years, and it's a great community, and thank you for being here.
Thank you, Board Member Sherrill. Board Member Pashkai?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I drove in yesterday evening. I didn't realize how beautiful Benson was and the area. And I missed the caverns hike because I'm Navajo and we are not allowed to go under the earth. It's a bad idea. They said it's taught that we only go into the earth when we die. So I don't want to push my luck. So I wasn't here, but I will. I've seen photos, and I envy all of you that can go into the caverns. But part of my ancestry is Chiricahua Apache, and I always wanted to know where Cochise Stronghold is. So I might stay a couple hours this afternoon and find where my ancestors were holding fast. But really like being here, and looking forward to the board meeting today. Thank you.
Jim, see that I would love to take you up there, but I don't have time to. But I will let you know how to get there.
Okay, sounds good.
The board works together in all ways. We do have quite a few. We have quite a few requests to speak today on our call to audience. So I will make a request that for those of you that can deliver your messages in 2 minutes or less, that would be great. It is agendized for 3, so you have the ability to take the full allotment, but if you can summarize and or support us in moving this board meeting a little bit more efficiently, we would very much appreciate it. It does not take away from your comments if you go to 3 minutes. We won't look less on your comments if you take the whole thing. So we'll start first with Mayor Joe Conrad, our Benson mayor. Welcome. Thanks again for hosting us.
Thank you. Well, it's refreshing to address the dais from this side. Good morning, everyone. I do want to thank the Horseshoe Cafe for providing breakfast for us this morning. And I'm going to go ahead and use my 2 minutes. Anyway, as Mayor of Benson, Arizona, it's my immense pleasure to welcome Chairperson Jen Daniels, the esteemed ADOT Board of Directors, and other distinguished guests to our city. Benson is honored to host this event and deeply appreciates your decision to use us as your venue for April 2025. We hold ADOT in high regard as a long-standing and valued partner. Our city is uniquely positioned at the convergence of 3 major ADOT arteries, Interstate 10, Arizona 90, Arizona 80, making Benson a critical hub in the state's transportation network. We also proudly operate the Benson Municipal Airport, Paul Kircham Field, which stands as a testament to our commitment to fostering growth and connectivity. Historic Highway 80, locally known as 4th Street, serves as the main artery of Benson. I'm pleased to share that downtown Benson is undergoing a significant revitalization. Our downtown businesses are dedicated to infusing new life into our historic city, and we hope to collaborate with ADOT to facilitate further improvements and growth in this area. I must acknowledge ADOT's current presence and commend your efforts on the I-10 State Route 90 to State Route 80 climbing lane extension project. Your support has been invaluable, notably in assisting with the installation of our new Purple Heart sign on State Route 80 at the southern entrance to the city. This partnership has helped us enhance the welcoming spirit of Benson, especially for our veterans, and for that we are truly grateful. However, I must take this opportunity to express our concerns regarding the frequent accidents occurring between mile markers 301 and 306 on Interstate 10. These incidents often result in highway closures, placing our first responders, Benson Police and Benson Fire, at significant risk. These dedicated individuals are the first to arrive on the scene, and their invaluable service often diverts them from their primary mission of safeguarding our city. We would be keen to discuss this matter further and offer our assistance to mitigate the hazards causing these accidents. Another focus for our City Council is the Benson Municipal Airport. We envision the airport as a potential commerce center and would welcome any funding opportunities from ADOT to support this vision. Your partnership in this endeavor would be instrumental in transforming our airport into a thriving hub of economic activity. I wish to extend an invitation to everyone to please come back and visit Benson at any time to experience some of our rich history. This includes railroad history and the Butterfield Trail, which both helped to lay the foundation of a transportation hub. I would be remiss if I did not also extend an invitation for all to attend our 8th Annual Lantern Festival that will be held on Saturday, September 20th on the San Pedro Golf Course. In closing, I extend my heartfelt thanks to ADOT Board of Directors and our distinguished guests for your presence here today. We look forward to continuing our collaborative efforts and achieving great strides together. Benson is committed to working alongside ADOT to ensure the prosperity and safety of our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor Nancy Smith is up next, and we'll have Kathleen Gomez on deck.
Hi, thank you very much, and thank you for the privilege of speaking here today. As you know, I've had the privilege many times to speak in many cities with you, in front of you, discussing 347 all the while, and Benson is no different in terms of what a lovely city it is, and they've been great. Mayor Conrad took care of us in telling us where to eat and where to stay, and it's been a lovely experience so far. As I indicated, this is the last time that I have the privilege of speaking publicly with you before our May meeting, your May meeting, and the 5-year plan is available after public comment. I believe your public comments will be hugely dominated by the tremendous outcry of Maricopa citizens who are extremely frustrated with years of patiently waiting for the state and the ADOT system and process to understand the needs for having State Route 347 project fully funded in the 5-year plan. The city has been a great partner, just to remind you, taking 30 lane miles off of ADOT books, saving them money, requesting and receiving funding from the state for the overpass and the intersections, contributing funds to the study, to projects within the city limits, preparing our federal legislators for a grant request when the design is complete, asking Pinal County to contribute, working with MAG for Maricopa County portion of the funding, asking you, the board, to understand the flaws in the ranking process that doesn't consider growth, huge growth in this case of the city of Maricopa, safety, huge safety problems for us, trucking, economic development needs within our city, and employees traveling to their jobs and families who are left without their parents while they're stuck on 347. I ask myself, and I ask you, what more can I do? What more can I say? But I can tell you that we, the City Council, can be bold and consider a half-cent sales tax to increase even more than we've already contributed to this project. We held our first open house last week for this initiative, and after asking many questions, those in attendance believed this was our only hope. And so we have 2 more of those open houses, one tomorrow. We invite you to attend if you're able to do that. Listen to our residents, hear what they have to say, hear the questions. We, the City Council, vote on this in just a couple weeks before your next meeting, and we can be bold. And so I hope that you will see that as a result. We can't continue to ignore this problem. Let me share with you, DPS couldn't continue to ignore this problem. They've recently authorized 17 extra shifts on State Route 347. And in that time frame in March, and they continue in April, 220 traffic stops, 195 were hazardous citations. That's what happens in 1 month on 347. 14 restraint citations, 36 other citations. 91% of the stops resulted in a citation. I gave you this picture just in closing. And this says it all. I mean, who puts a bumper sticker on their window that says, "Don't go to heaven on Highway 347"? This is serious business. We're talking lives. We ask you to be bold. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Kathleen Gomez, and on deck will be Jose Grijalva.
Thank you very much for having me here. I understand your dilemma as I just sat through probably 20, 30 meetings, hearing all the different departments asking for money for, Cochise County. But let me tell you, I'm a fourth generation from Douglas, Arizona. It is an incredible place. In the 60s, it was the third largest city in Arizona. My father, when he was mayor of Douglas, worked on this port of entry. In fact, in Douglas, it's kind of an urban legend because we've been told it's going to happen in 2008, 2014, 2018, 2024, and now possibly 2028. Actually, Douglas has been forgotten. When the mines closed, we didn't have the leadership to actually bring in any kind of industry. So we were relying on just ourselves. This port of entry is crucial in so many ways to the economic growth of Arizona. Douglas pretty much is relying on federal, I think 60 to 70% of them are on access. We are relying on federal handouts. We need jobs. We need economic development. With Frank Antinori and myself as new members of the Cochise County Board of Supervisors, we have a master plan of economic development for 191, an economic corridor. We are looking at medical tourism. I'm dedicated to building a hospital in Douglas. This has a mental health institute. 66% of the people in jail are mentally ill. It costs $100,000 per person to take them to Phoenix or $36,000 per day to Tucson. If we can have this port of entry, we can bring economic development to an area that has been forgotten. And these are the kind of things that I know that you've heard, but I want to repeat. We can enhance cross-border trade efficiency, leverage federal investment in border modernization. We can support legal international trade growth. We can maximize utility of the Bisbee Douglas International Airport, which we're now looking also for a $9 million grant to make those runways durable so that we can have large jets land on them. We have it's an incredible economic opportunity. I get very excited because we're on a precipice. If it doesn't happen now, I don't know when it will. We have the cattle, people who are bringing cattle into the United States, working with feedlots, it's all there. We need this port of entry to bring it together. But you can't have a $400 million port if you don't have a road to connect it from the border to 80. And that's what we need. We need to see actually the money there so that everyone can start investing and making a master plan, whether it's a hospital, whether it's economic growth, bringing in the cattle, bringing in all the different minerals that are going to be coming from Sonora. I know the mayor is going to come and tell you what he's planning to do. This is like an urban legend in Douglas when you talk about the port of entry. It's been at least 40 years. Please help us in being able to be really productive to grow Arizona in ways in which I don't think anyone really oversees. Thank you for the opportunity. Please think about us. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Gomez, and I apologize for not using your title earlier. I should have recognized that. Jose Grijalva, please, and Katie Proctor will be on deck.
Good luck following that up. Good morning, Chair Daniels, Vice Chair Maxwell, and members of the State Transportation Board. For the record, my name is Jose Grijalva, and I'm the mayor of the City of Douglas. I'm here to provide an update on the progress of the Douglas Two-Port Solution and Connector Road that will service the new port. I wanted to inform you that when we started down this plan, the federal government had committed $400 million in funding to undertake both projects, $216 million for the new port and $184 million for the Raul Castro facilities. GSA has recently updated project costs to more than $653 million, with $313 million for the new port and up to $350.5 million for the existing port. I think you will agree these investments are unprecedented, and we must do whatever it takes to get them done. We continue to work with our key partners, including Cochise County and ADOT, to address critical related infrastructure projects necessary for the new port, including a utility corridor for water, sewer, electric, broadband, and natural gas. But the reason I'm here before you today is for the new connector road from the new port of entry to SR 80. ADOT's technical team has confirmed that this project will cost $43.3 million and that they have in hand $27.5 million for the project. We worked with the legislator also and secured $8.6 million in fiscal year 2023 to help pay for the project. We continue with our congressional delegation and are once again putting forward a congressional directed spending request for $20 million to cover the outstanding balance. During the last study session, it was mentioned that there are projects in our region that could be delayed to ensure that the complete funding for the connector road is in the bank. If I recall correctly, Mr. Searle that suggested that a bridge improvement project on US 191 could be delayed, and that would allow the board to move on the funding to the Connector Road project. Without the road, we fear that it's not going to get done. It might get delayed by the federal government. I'd like to at least publicly say that this isn't going to be an empty investment. Next week, I'm meeting with the cities in Mexico. Our sister city, Agua Prieta. I'm inviting Hermosillo, I'm inviting Acosari, I'm inviting Guaymas, Cananea, and others to sign sister city agreements. That this is going to be the preliminary meeting to then push trade, push jobs over here from Mexico to Douglas, and then have us be really the hub where it all starts. I know we've all heard of the term trickle-down economics, but with Douglas, I feel like we're going to be trickling up. It's going to start in Douglas. It's going to benefit Douglas, but also Cochise County, and not only Cochise County, but Maricopa County, Phoenix area. Let us be the start to this new age, especially with this new port that's going to be the most modernized with cold storage, with the room temperatures that are going to have the produce stay in great condition. So we're looking to be the catalyst in that, and with your support, we'll not only help grow Douglas, but Cochise County and the whole state of Arizona to be competitive with the whole nation in the United States. Thank you for your time and your support.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate your words. Katie Proctor is up with Priscilla Banky on deck.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members. My name is Katie Proctor, and I'm here on behalf of the City of Maricopa. I want to thank you again for all of your work on the study session last week. That was a really great opportunity for us to hear some new data. And I do want to reiterate a couple things that did come up during that conversation. As you heard from the mayor, we are looking at that local contribution in concert with Pinal County. The total amount is $50 million. Pending the vote next month from our city council, we would be very happy to enter into a JPA on that, or IGA as soon as possible, and we can provide that full lump sum amount next calendar year for ADOT to get started on the project. I do want to just note a couple things. It is intended only for the widening component of that, and this is in concert with the conversations we're happening in our community right now with our residents about their intent, and also with our city and council's intent. And then I also do need to mention that I cannot commit a future city council either, so we really hope that the timing works out well for this to be something that happens now, because this is a great opportunity for everybody. I hope over the last few months we've really demonstrated for you why this project is so critical to our community and to the region in general. I think P2P is a wonderful process with a lot of value, but it's not infallible. There are aspects of that data that do not fully describe the situation we are facing right now. And if safety was a larger factor, if the district score was a higher factor, if we had a more modern approach to the economic development component, and more emphasis on actual traffic count, we would be at the top of the list. You also have board policies right now that give you precedent for giving preference for projects that have a local match. And that's been done before, and I think there's a reason for that. I also want to mention the obvious. There is a public comment component of this process, and I think the public comment has been very clear. You've heard from our residents and from the community over the last 2 years as you've gone through the board process for the program. You've heard from our residents as they come to see you here at these meetings and send emails. And last year when ADOT conducted the project meeting in our community, it was so well attended that they had to call an audible and do 2 presentations that night because the place was packed. The public wants this project. It is necessary for our community. I do not envy the position that you are in, because this is difficult decisions and there isn't enough money for everything, and I completely understand that. But I do believe that the discretion you are afforded in your roles here is intentional and purposeful, because sometimes there are projects and there are times that just need to move forward, and this is one of those times. There's a financial incentive on the table, the data is clear, and the public has spoken. Please, please prioritize this project this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. Priscilla, and then Vincent Manfredi will be on it.
Good morning, members of the board. My name is Priscilla Banky, and I am the co-founder and executive director of Be Awesome, a nonprofit based in the heart of Maricopa. Every day, I work with youth and families striving to build lives filled with connection, confidence, and contribution. But every day, we also lose something invaluable: time. On a road that can no longer carry the weight of our city's growth. The SR 347 isn't just a highway, it's a lifeline. And now it's failing people who depend on it most. Parents trying to get home in time for dinner, teens missing opportunities to be mentored and involved, and young children losing out on critical moments with their families at dinner. We cannot afford to wait any longer. The people of Maricopa have shown up. We've supported studies, we've passed measures and raised our voices. Our city leaders have stepped up with funding and a vision for growth, and now we're asking you to meet us at this moment of urgency and momentum in placing SR 347 on a 5-year construction plan. This isn't just about easing traffic, it's about protecting lives, restoring hours lost to communities, and giving our families a fighting chance at a future they deserve. We're not asking for a handout, we're asking for a partnership, and Maricopa is ready to do its part. Please help us move forward.
Thank you very much, Priscilla. Vincent and Brandy Hellman will be on deck.
Chair, Board, thank you so much for allowing us to speak. Giving us this opportunity is always, we're always thankful for it. I'll keep this very short because everybody speaks much more eloquently than I ever could. But the reality is the city of Maricopa is looking to partner with ADOT, looking to partner with the state and get this done. I don't know if it's true or not, but I do know that there's not many cities out there who are contributing money to a project outside of the city boundaries, outside of the city land on state roads that are looking to be expanded. The city of Maricopa is doing that. The people of Maricopa are stepping up. And as you notice, it's not just elected officials that come to this meeting or city leaders. It's everybody. The people of Maricopa don't drive to this meeting 2.5 hours each way, spending 5 minutes to do 2 minutes at a podium for the heck of it, right? We don't do it because we have nothing better to do. We do it because it's the most important thing for the city of Maricopa to do, is to get out, speak to you, and let you know how important this is. So I'm going to do something that not many people do, is I'm going to give you back your time. And instead of 3 minutes, I think I'm at about 1 minute and 10 seconds. Thank you so much. Please make sure the SR 347 expansion project is on the 5-year plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Brandy, and followed by Brandy, we will have a representative for Sarah Ogilvie.
Good morning, members of the board. My name is Brandy Hellman, and I'm the co-founder of Be Awesome in the city of Maricopa. But today I'm speaking to you not as a nonprofit leader, but as a mom. For 7 years, I drove SR 347 twice a day so that my son could attend a school that gave him the best shot at a bright future. There were days that we missed school altogether because of crashes, days we didn't make it home for dinner. My daughter missed out on extracurriculars not for lack of interest or effort, but because the road that connects us to the opportunity was failing us. Even now, as I work with kids and their families, I watch parents show up late, anxious, and apologetic because they were stranded on the 347. This road is costing us more.
This meeting is being recorded.
Oops. Sorry.
I think we might be having a technical difficulty.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I do apologize.
And we can, don't worry, you'll have to all the time.
Okay.
This doesn't count.
You can continue our recording with
Okay.
you if you want, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
All right. Even now, as I work with kids and their families, I watch parents show up late, anxious, and apologetic because they are stranded on the 347. This road is costing us more than time. It's costing kids their chance to thrive. You have the power to change that. Please put the SR 347 in the 5-year construction plan. It's more than a road, a project. It's a lifeline for families like mine. I do want to add one more thing. My daughter goes to NAU, and she's actually more terrified and anxious to drive the 347 than the 17. Just putting that out there. Thank you.
Thank you. And we'll look to Richard Searle as the representative for Sarah.
Good morning. This is a little bit different, but you're in my town, so my daughter and her family live here in Benson, and I will grant Maricopa that the 347 comes up more than the issue that my daughter brings up to me, but she is a close second. She has 2 daughters that go to school here at Benson, and there is a need for a turning signal at the light at Patagonia and Highway 80 over 4th Street. And she's talked to Brad Hamilton many times, and Brad told her that, this is not a city of Benson issue, the light belongs to ADOT. And I understand that
being recorded.
The light probably does not meet the requirements 20 hours of the day, but there are at least 2 or 3 hours every day when school starts and ends that it is an issue for a protected turning light on 4th and Highway 80, or 4th and Patagonia. So she could not make it today. She was going to come and speak. You know, that'd been kind of cool to have my daughter speak all in the public, but anyhow. Just for the knowledge and the record, there is a request for a protected turning light. And I wish Jeremy Moore had been here, and Greg, hopefully you can pass it on. I would appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Board Member Sherrill, acting as the father of Sarah today, the most important role. Bill Robertson, and then after Bill, we'll go to our online guests if there's no one else.
Straight down my best here. Thank you, Madam Chair and board members. Thank you for the opportunity. I just wondered, do you feel like you're being stalked by Maricopa? We seem to be following you everywhere, but it is our pleasure to address you once again. The 5-year plan is the most important first step. Without the 5-year plan, nothing can happen. All the work that we put in, all the work that you put in, all the work that our city council puts in and our citizens is for naught if we don't make it in the 5-year plan. We understand how the 5-year plan works. It's tentative almost all the time because it's reviewed annually and it can be changed and things can be added. But that's the first most significant step. If we miss the inclusion of 347 in the next 5-year plan, that equates to dozens or more deaths and untold injuries and disabilities. We know that it's all about planning. I serve as on the Planning and Zoning Commission, so planning is a big deal to me. And this is part of the planning process, getting it into the 5-year plan. The City of Maricopa residents overwhelmingly support us nickeling up our funds to this overall plan to get this funded. If it's not in the plan, nothing happens. This weekend is about to be a nightmare in the City of Maricopa. Interstate 10 is closing tonight at midnight eastbound at Riggs Road for the entire weekend. That shifts 75,000 vehicles every few hours over to SR 347 into the heart of Maricopa and then down through Casa Grande or out to Interstate 8 south of Maricopa. It's about to be a nightmare. This happens more frequently. This is a big one because it's construction related to the Gila River Bridge expansion on Interstate 10. But it also happens every time there's a crash on Interstate 10. We're impacted. Now, we enjoy the gross receipt tax that comes from that and the sales tax when everybody stops for a Coke or a bag of ice. But all kidding aside, without getting in the 5-year plan, we have no hope. So we encourage you once again to seriously consider at least getting us in the 5-year plan, make that first necessary step so we do have a lifeline to the final decision in planning, design, and construction of SR 347. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bill. All right, we'll move to our online guests. Bryce, if you can assist. The first is Marcia DeSalvo. You could raise your hand. And then on deck will be Sharon Walker.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Am I muted? I'm sorry.
Marcia, you sound great. Go ahead and...
Okay, sorry about that. Okay, well, thank you so much for allowing me to speak to all of you today. I would like to let you know that I've reviewed the tentative 5-year transportation facilities construction program that you posted for 2026 and 2030. And my concern, I'm a Goodyear resident in the community of Pebble Creek. And my concern is the SR 303 increasing noise on the highway. I've seen a number of projects in the master that involve Route 303 in or near Goodyear, but I could not tell if any of them would address a possible noise mitigation wall. I'd like to inquire if a noise study and then possibly noise mitigation wall was possible. Because the 303, where it borders Pebble Creek, specific Unit 57 within the development. I do know that based on the modeling at the time that the community was developed. Standard 6-foot-high privacy wall was required by DOT. It said it would adequately shield the planned residential homes from the interim Loop 303 roadway. This assumes the privacy wall is constructed of 6-inch or 8-inch thick block rather than the thinner 4-inch block. But there was no height requirement. And as the warehouses have grown and the traffic has grown on Route 303, the peaceful enjoyment of the neighborhood has been eroded. You can hear the noise whipping around inside the house as well as outside in this whole entire area. And I was just hoping that there are some plans for a noise study, because from what I understand, the last noise study was done in 2010. And obviously we can all agree that 15 years is, there's been substantial growth within that time. And so I would respectfully ask that that become part of that plan. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Marcia. We'll have Sharon Walker, please raise your hand, and Kimberly Daniels is on deck. No relation.
For now, you to speak.
Good morning, Madam Chair, board members, and everyone in attendance at this meeting this morning. I'm Sharon Walker. I'm a citizen here in Maricopa. First, just let me say, Benson sounds like a beautiful town. I wish I could have been there in person to witness that. But getting on to today's business. You've heard from officials in our city, our Mayor, Mayor Smith, and fellow citizens of Maricopa, all expressing our concerns regarding the issues on State Route 347. We have addressed this both on many occasions, as Mayor Smith has stated, and we will continue to do so to highlight the importance of including State Route 347 and the infrastructure issues in your 5-year plan. I would like to just reinforce what everybody has said today, the facts and figures and information that has been provided to you, and kindly request that you consider our requests and concerns to partner with ADOT board with regard to fixing our issues on 347 and including it in the 5-year plan. It's very important to the citizens of Maricopa with our daily lives, and it's also very important to the city of Maricopa with the sustainability and through the growth of our city, because it is a very important city in the state of Arizona. Thank you for your time and consideration to our requests and information that has been provided to you this morning. Again, thank you for your attention to this matter, and kindly urge you respectfully to include infrastructure improvements, funding, and everything that is needed to address the 347 in your 5-year plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. Kimberly Daniels, you're up now, and Kate Morley is on deck.
You are now muted. Mercy. My name is Kimberly Daniels, and I'm a college student who calls Maricopa home. My family has had very deep roots here for a long time, and I watched my dad spend years commuting on the 347 until he was finally able to find a good job locally. Now, as I'm building my own future, I would like to start my own family here, but I wonder if I and many others will be forced to leave because the road won't change, and because critical improvements keep getting delayed. State Route 347 has become a significant barrier for many families in our community, with parents often delayed or stuck in traffic along this route. Children are frequently left home alone or placed in extended after-school care, which can create unnecessary risks and stress for families. I'm part of these after-school programs, and I have seen it myself. These kids get stuck here, and both parents or one of them are stuck on the 347 and they're unable to come and get their children. Maricopa families deserve better. They deserve the opportunity to spend meaningful time together, and they deserve the chance to stay in Maricopa and thrive there. Improving the SR 347 is not just a matter of transportation, it's a matter of family well-being and community stability. Please help make that a possibility by including the SR 347 in the 5-year construction plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Kimberly. Kate Morley, you're up, and Christian Milet will be on deck.
You are now muted.
Members of the board, Kate Morley, the Executive Director of Metro Plan in the Greater Flagstaff region. I'm speaking today just to give you a little background on deferring the light upgrades in the Greater Flagstaff region. I really want to thank staff, because what you may not realize is not only are they upgrading to LED lights, but they've been working closely with the astronomy community to make sure those are amber LED lights, which are dark skies friendly. As the board knows, we have investments in the Greater Flagstaff region, such as Lowell Observatory, the Discovery Telescope, but most importantly, the Naval Observatory, which is critical to national security interests. And the Naval Observatory does have concerns about LED lights that are not amber. So we wanted to recognize staff for working with them through that process. We also wanted the board to be aware that we have actually submitted a request to ADOT to change the standards in Coconino County to always use amber LED lights when LED lights are being installed. Staff has said that they want to study these new lights before they commit to that, which we understand. We want to make sure staff know that there are many experts in the region who are offering their assistance to help that have studied lights before, and that it's not an effort that needs to be started from scratch. We're also unsure if that study is funded at this point, and if it's not funded, we'd really urge the funding for that to be included so that we can move forward with that request. So in wrapping up, we really hope that this delay is minor. We understand the lights broke. We hope that this doesn't kick it out a whole year and that it's really just a matter of months, and really want to thank staff for working with us on the dark sky components. Thank you.
Thank you, Kate. Christian Milek, you're up, and Tammy Royale will be on deck.
We do have a call-in user, so I'm assuming that that is person. If you are calling in, oh, you're now muted. You may.
Christian, are you available?
Somehow they muted themselves. Bryce, can you send them another unmute?
Hello, sorry, can you guys hear me?
We can now. Thank you, Christian. Proceed.
All right, thank you. Hello, members of the board. My name is Christian Milek, and I am currently a student at Northern Arizona University studying to become a doctor. I also work with Be Awesome during school breaks and part-time while I'm in class. Growing up in Maricopa, avoiding the 347 has always just been a part of life. We timed everything, including school, sports, work, all around when the road might be clear. Friends and family reroute their entire lives just to bypass it, and now I'm watching my younger brother grow up in the same reality, with fewer options, fewer opportunities, and more frustration. Our generation inherited this problem, and we're wondering, will we be the ones who finally see it fixed, or will we continue to experience the delays further? Problems those delays cause. We're not asking for perfection, we're asking for progress. Please put SR 347 on the 5-year construction plan. It's time to do better for the future of Maricopa. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Christian. And last but not least, Tammy Royale.
Bryce, it looks, yeah, and can you unmute that other caller, user 5, I think it says?
I have requested to unmute the line. If you are calling in, please press *6 to unmute.
Sorry about that. Good morning, Madam Chairman and members of the board. Sorry about that confusion on unmuting. My name is Tammy Ryle, and I'm with Pinal County, and I'm here today to share with you some good news that we have received recently from the Federal Aviation Administration. Many of you will recall from our helicopter tour last March, where we went up in the Black Hawk, that there was a pretty dramatic need for an air traffic control tower at Pinal Airport, which is, to remind you, is also jointly operated as the Silver Bell heliport for the Arizona National Guard. And we got the good news last week that we have passed a pretty significant hurdle, and we've been accepted into the tower program by the FAA. And so I wanted to circle back with all of you, because we had discussed that on the helicopter tour, and share this kind of moment of celebration with you that it's well underway. We're now on the clock, where we have 7 years for the design and construction. So that was it, and thank you very much for having me.
Thank you, Tammy. I'm sure that's due in part to a lot of hard work on your end, so congratulations. That concludes our communications from citizens, unless there's anybody that submitted late.
Madam Chair, I have not received any other requests.
Thank you. We will move to agenda item 1, our director's report, and regret that Director Toth is unable to join us today. She has an excused absence for sure. She's tending to family. So, Floyd, would you mind presenting on her behalf?
Yeah, Madam Chair, and I'll be very quick, because we do have a legislative update, and Amy will provide that. Just a few things she wanted to point out. This month, April 15th, was the Arizona Highway Magazine's 100th anniversary. Governor did make a milestone proclamation on that day. There was a little ceremony with that. But she wanted to just express appreciation to all the hard people, the publishers and editors, and everybody who's worked on that magazine over 100 years to make it such an outstanding gem of a publication that really supports Arizona tourism, and just gives this great state's recognition. Our current publisher, Kelly Marrow, and editor Robert Stevie were at the ceremony, and they are the current leaders that are just doing a fantastic job in continuing the legacy and the quality of that magazine. We did get notice that the State Route 88 project, the project that a lot of you were involved with here with the board and programming that funds, that did receive a nationwide Collaborative Project of the Year award. That team will be recognized later this year, but she wanted to give congratulations to the whole team, everybody who came together to work hard to get that project open. And then her safety message again this month is a motorcycle safety, so please be careful when you're out. Remember to look in your blind spots for motorcycles. And as we get warmer, the weather, obviously we do need to be careful with fires, so please don't drag chains, and then make sure that you're cognizant of the fire concerns. That's all I have.
Thank you, Floyd. Would you, on the SR 88 award, there was a significant contribution from Supervisor Surdy and others from Pinal County, as well as some citizens that really worked hard to be collaborative. If you could make sure they're aware of that award as well, that'd be great.
Yes, ma'am.
And we'll turn it to Amy Love for our legislative report.
Good morning. Thank you, Madam Chair. If I could have the slide back up, please.
So that was our presentation 1B, but Amy, you're breaking up your audio.
Oh, I apologize.
I think we're ready with your slides, Amy. Amy, we're unable to hear you. Are you able to get a signal?
Amy, it shows that you're muted. Can you unmute yourself, or do you need assistance?
Star 6 to unmute. So I hear.
That's on the phone. She's on the WebEx. So you'd have the unmute button at the bottom. Amy, it looks like your intercom your microphone came on. Are you unmuted?
Floyd, we can come back to Amy.
Yeah, I think
that might be easier.
Yeah, I don't see any audio there. So yes, ma'am.
I do want to make sure we hear her report. It is the height of the legislative session. I know there's a lot going on.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, yes, we can. Proceed.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you, Madam Chair. So if we can move to the first slide, you may have gotten a sneak preview. Just to echo what Floyd said, I actually want to thank Chairwoman Daniels for joining us. It was a wonderful day celebrating the 100th anniversary with Governor Hobbs. I don't know who smiled bigger, if it was Kelly or the governor. When she saw the cake, she actually ran out of the room to get her magazine so she could come back and have a picture with it. So big thanks to Kelly and editor Robert Steve, and they were also then invited to the House floor where Representatives Betty Villegas and House Transportation Chair Representative Biasucci presented them with a proclamation from the State House, and wanted to thank Senator Kevin Payne for his introduction of an identical Senate resolution as well. So great day for the magazine, and I appreciate you being there with us to celebrate Chairwoman Daniels. Next slide, please. So last month when we were here, there had only been 3 bills making their way to the governor's desk, but as you'll see here, there have now been 144 bills passed. She has signed 19 of them, vetoed 19 of them and signed 54. Several resolutions have passed, and 16 of them have been introduced and 16 have passed. Next slide, please. So this week, typically I think we've mentioned the deadline to hear bills in standing committees. It was at the end of March. There were some exceptions. The appropriations committees continued to meet for one additional week, and then this week on Tuesday, the House and Senate appropriations met separately. Although they were not focused on any transportation-specific issues, they were rather focused on hearing a bill related to funding for developmental disabilities and some additional funding for that program. The next day, on the 16th, the governor did announce a bill moratorium, indicating that any bill that is sent to her prior to a full clean supplemental appropriation for the bill heard in that committee will likely be her veto stamp. And we'll talk about a little bit about that on some bills in a minute. And then on Thursday, the Finance Advisory Committee met. This was yesterday, and largely they were focused on how much the state forecast has changed since January. The JLBC chair noted that there's a lot of uncertainty right now, making it difficult to forecast. They know that their current estimate is the available resources since January, where they were estimating around $612 million, has now been estimated to be reduced to approximately $277 million in available resources. There were some modeling done potentially in terms of a recession, but nobody on the committee seemed to think that we were quite there yet. Next slide, please. Just one key date ahead. Tuesday coming up is theoretically the 100th day of the legislative session, at which time they would theoretically be done with their work for the year. However, I don't believe they will be reaching that deadline this year. Anticipate the continued budget negotiations and conversations will go on probably well into May. Next slide. Just moving on to a couple of bills that we've been talked about before in the past, but just bringing them back up to re-highlight. Neither of these bills were advanced through committee this year. However, just one note, the HB 2101 related to the SMART Fund that appropriated $10 million. Just a reminder, in the initial governor's budget that was introduced in January, she had indicated a $13 million appropriation for AZ SMART. So even though this bill didn't move, we'll still keep an eye on the budget to see what the total amount, if any, ends up going to the AZ SMART Fund for rural transportation improvements. And then House Bill 2304, the RTAC annual bill for appropriations for rural highway and road projects. Although the bill did not receive a hearing in appropriations, the sponsor, Representative Biasucci, held a special hearing and allowed folks who had projects within that bill to come and present and speak to the need for them. So that was a great opportunity to hear from Kevin and some of the other folks that had measures in there, and they were given the opportunity to present to the Transportation Committee and take questions. The next slide, please. The next bill, HB 2192, appropriates $7 million in this year and $50 million next year for the Interstate 10 between State Route 85 and Citrus Road. This bill has cleared all of the chambers, and like other appropriations measures, we anticipate this bill will likely not continue to move in its current form and will end up in the budget pile of bills that will be negotiated between the legislature and the governor. So the bill did make it to both chambers and was passed unanimously, as has SB 1162, the appropriation highway project Patagonia Coast. I think we've mentioned this before, most of the bills that had an appropriation attached to them were double assigned in committee, although 1162 was one of the few that was not. But all of the bills were typically double assigned and were heard in the House Transportation and Appropriations Committee, as well as the Senate Senate Public Safety and Senate Appropriations Committee. And Public Safety was heard in the Senate because there was not a Transportation Committee this year. However, that has changed, and next year Senator Farnsworth will be holding a joint Education and Transportation Committee. So we anticipate next year we'll see bills moving through both House and Senate Transportation Committees, as well as appropriations. Next slide, please. The other two bills that we were monitoring that related to transportation funding were related to the State Route 337. House Bill 2557 initially appropriated monies for the SR 347 widening. That bill was amended in the Senate to now mirror SB 1617. So now both bills are identical, and they appropriate a net increase of $41.4 million from the general fund for the Ridge Road 347 TI. The bills will now appropriate monies in this year for design, right-of-way acquisition, and utility relocation, and then additional monies in FY27 leaving the $49 million in FY28 to complete the construction. Next slide, please. And then there were a few other bills of interest that I wanted to raise for the board that would potentially impact the 5-year plan. The first one would be HB 2814. This would assert legislative authority for appropriating non-custodial federal dollars. This bill was passed out of the Senate this week and has been sent to the governor. It was sent before she announced the bill moratorium, so we haven't seen her take action on it yet, but it was sent up before the bill moratorium, so we'll see if she signs or vetoes that one. And then Senate Bill 1086, Transportation System Performance, ADOT. This bill essentially provides what would be included in the 5-year plan, and when looking at it, the bullet points you see here are the items that would be eliminated and not be able to be included in the 5-year plan. The big ones there being pavement and bridge projects. And I believe those were all of the bills that I had for you, but I'd be happy to answer any questions if the board has any. Next slide, please.
Please, if we go back to that slide, just clarification on SB 1086.
Yes.
What exactly does that say, and what exactly does that do if it's passed?
Senate Bill 1086, and I'll pull it up just so it's not a very large bill, but it essentially provides for 3 different buckets that would be included, and I apologize off the top of my head. We were focused on what would be impacted. But essentially it's, I think, 40% of funding. It allocates 40, 40, and 20% of funding to different transportation priorities, and it did not include pavement, bridge. So I apologize, I had the bill up just now.
So Amy, as you're trying to collect it, could you do a staff summary sheet we could get out to all the board members that would look at what the impact of that bill would be?
I think that would probably suffice. I can see what it says in the slide, but I don't know that it fully understands how it would impact us and on our planning process.
Especially on the programming process, does it take the prioritization away from you and tie it to a piece of legislation? That would be something I think the board would really want to consider and weigh in.
Yeah, so it says the division shall develop for presentation to the board standard transportation system performance factors that include at least the following. And it says for highway projects, congestion reduction must be 40%, an increase in mobility 40%, and then safety improvements, including the reduction in the number of fatalities on the roadway at 20%. But I'd be happy to get a fact sheet out to the group.
Thank you, Amy.
You're welcome.
Based on the sponsor, Senator Hoffman, I would imagine it's errs on the side of taking away authority from any other jurisdiction outside of the legislature. So I think we can safely say that they're taking back some power.
Madam Chair, I'd like to add, because I got the same questions you've got, it's who's controlling. It also sounds like it's put more towards new construction, which I fully understand, but as we know every year, 71% of what we do is just maintaining the system we've got. We can't. So I think it's important that we learn more about that.
Agreed.
Those of us who engage can engage.
Terrific. Maybe we could get all of our 347 champions to also engage. We have a full crew. All right. Amy, I do have one other question. It's a question that came up over the last week, and if we don't have an answer today, that's fine, but if you could present next month on it, and it would be the electric vehicle exemption that's set to expire, I think in September of 2025 for HOV lanes, and whether you anticipate that there's some sort of congressional extension or federal move that would do that, and if not, what our communications plan in Arizona would be to all drivers that that exemption may be expiring. So I don't know if you have anything off the top of your head on that, Amy, or if you want to come back next month with some info on that one.
And certainly, Madam Chair, and Jenny, who is with our federal relations, I know we've not heard of any effort at the federal level to extend that. We've certainly, I know, we've engaged already with the Department of Public Safety, and our communications team has been doing a big push to notify the public. I won't speak to all of their efforts, but I know we have a pretty robust communication plan that has included working and notifying, motor vehicle dealers so that they're letting folks know as they're purchasing new electric vehicles that this moratorium is set to take effect later this year. But we'd be happy to get you some more information on that communications plan, because I know we have been doing that, and there have been a number of news stories and radio interviews about it as well. So we are actively engaging and educating the public about that.
Thank you, Amy. Board Member Walters?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Maybe if you could also explain, is this taking place as a matter of just timeline, meaning the program called for an expiration or a sunset in September, or is it because the HOV lane is saturated now? Is it a matter of traffic condition and the lane is fully being utilized or overutilized, as opposed to just a timeline that was set back when? My understanding all along that this was a pilot program, and hybrid vehicle at one time, and all electric vehicles could use it. They stopped the hybrid vehicle blue plates issuance when the traffic volume in the HOV lane reached a certain point, and the license plates had been all assigned. So I'm just curious as to what is bringing this termination of this program at this point. It looks like State Engineer Byers has an answer.
So,
Greg, can you turn that on? You have to push the button right on the top.
is it on? It's red.
Yeah, red's
Okay.
on. That's your live fire button.
There has always been a sunset date in the ruling that came down from Federal Highway for the HOV limitations of single occupancy use for alternative fuel vehicles. That's always been in there, and we've gone through the entire process. The date has not changed, and it is now approaching in September. Federal Highway has not indicated that they will extend it, so therefore we are anticipating that termination date. So.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions for Amy or the rest of the team on legislative and congressional items? Okay, moving on. There is no district report this month because we were just here in the district a few months ago, and we'll be back here in October for the Rural Transportation Summit and also our board meeting that will be held in Sierra Vista. So we will move on to the consent agenda. Does any member of the board want to pull an item for consent, from consent to discuss? Seeing none, we will entertain a motion. Wait, hold on 1 second. We're going to wait till board member. Okay. You're okay. We just want to make sure you get to vote.
While you're waiting, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second. Thank you. We have a motion and a second for the consent agenda. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that motion carries with a 6-0 vote. Thank you. We'll move on to the financial report, and Christine Ward was unable to attend today. All the information is in our packet, so if you have any questions, I would encourage you to reach out to Christine, but I don't think we actually need to go over the items. It's the standard report that she's provided, and it is available to the public as well.
Yes, Madam Chair, we will post that information as well. There's nothing of significance. She did want me to remind everybody next month with the public hearing, she will come back with a more comprehensive report that shows the fiscal constraints and of the program to ensure that we are within federal compliance.
Thank you. All right.
And Chair Daniels, just a note, reviewing her report, it does appear that her funding, although is within the estimated range, it's on the low end of the estimated range. And it's kind of trending the wrong direction. And I would just leave it at that.
Thank you. Thank you, Board Member Shaw. We'll move on to agenda item 5, our multimodal planning division report with ICFAL.
I just need to turn that off. Just want to push that. There you go. You're good. Mike.
All right. Good morning, Madam Chair and the members of the board. I hope you are all doing well this morning. For record, my name is Iqbal Hussain, the Deputy Director of the Multimodal Planning Division. Today, I will present items 5A, 5B, and item 7. I will begin with item 5A, tribal transportation updates. I would like to share an update on the SR 264 corridor planning study. This study project was initiated following feedback from Hopi tribal leaders at the State Transportation Board in 2022. Actually, there was 2 requests in 2022. Their concerns were safety and the increased traffic volumes on SR 264. As a result, we started the project in October of last year. And this study is looking at the corridor's performance in terms of mobility, safety, and travel time reliability. We are about a third of the way through, and we are on track to wrap it up by end of 2025. Great. A little update on tribal outreach. ADOT MPD has issued a call for project nominations under the planning and programming process for fiscal year 2027 to 2031. Additionally, the call for projects for the transportation alternative programs, which is also open. And to ensure the outreach to our tribal partners, we reached out to all 22 tribes to notify them of these 2 programs. Next, I want to follow up on a question raised at the March meeting in Yuma regarding the Arizona Strategic Highway Safety Plan, specifically the tribal lands emphasis area. Madam Chair, you had a question whether all 22 tribes in Arizona are eligible to participate in this emphasis area. The answer is yes. All federally recognized tribal communities in Arizona are eligible to be involved in this emphasis area. Last month, I reported that 5 tribes were actively engaged in this initiative, and today I'm happy to report that this month, the Salt River Pima Maricopa Indian community joined to this emphasis area team to make it 6.
and we continue to invite and encourage additional tribal communities to join. This concludes my presentation on tribal transportation updates.
Thank you. Any questions on 1A? All right, we'll move to 1B.
Thank you. Then I'll move on to, Then I'll move on to item 5B, public comment period for the 1080 5-year program update. Move on to. Okay. I would like to provide an update on the public comments we have received as of April 11 for the 1080 2026 through 2030 5-year program. As you know, the public comments period opened on March 3rd and will continue until May 23rd. Perfect, thank you. Thank you so much. So this slide demonstrates where we are in the process of developing the 5-year program. The public comment period continues on the 2026 through 2030 program, and additionally, we began the P2P process, planning to programming process for the 2027 through 2031 program. To engage the public, we have implemented a comprehensive outreach strategy. This includes news releases, targeted emails to nearly 13,000 GovDelivery subscribers, social media outreach, and promotional efforts on ADOT website. As you can see on the lower left-hand corner, as of April 11, we have received 600 comments through online survey, emails, and board meeting comments. In addition, the public is able to provide feedback through other channels such as phone calls and letters. The box on the right that reflects the transportation modes on which the public commented. No surprise, highways continue to receive the bulk of comments with 566 to date. This slide shows the specific routes that have received at least 10 comments. So far, the key themes from public inputs include the widening of 347 and widening and other improvements at several locations on I-10 in Maricopa and Pima County, widening of I-17 to 3 lanes from Phoenix to Flagstaff, and also several projects being requested on US 60. Additional comments were on Loop 303. Comments were made about the extension of the sound wall in the Pebble Creek area. On 260, SR 260, the comments pertain to the completion of the Nottingham Lane to connect the road to the Pinetop Lakeside area. And finally, there are strong support for projects along US 93 corridor also observed. Lastly, we have provided an Excel file to the board containing all public comments. This slide includes a brief guide on how to navigate the file. This concludes my presentation on the 5-year program. I'm happy to answer any question you may have.
Any questions for Michael? On the document you provided, or the team provided to the board with all of the comments, there's a couple that I think might be miscategorized, so I can point them out to you after, but I think it would be helpful. It just shows like they're in the wrong column, meaning it's indicating 202, but it's really for 303 and a couple things like that. It's probably how it all downloads, probably an error like that, but I know that this is a public record, so I thought we'd want to update that. And no surprise, I think, that 347 is winning.
Madam Chair, is this appropriate time for me to make a couple of comments on that project? Please. I'm thinking with the agenda, this is the most appropriate place to say that. Just a reminder to the board, and I hope I have my numbers right, I think I do, based on our workshop that we had last week. Just a reminder, according to the numbers I'm looking at, 2026, we're experiencing a just over $12 million shortfall. Only $12 million shortfall for the 347. In 2027, we're up against $134,932 shortfall before the $50 million contribution from the city of Maricopa. That leaves us a measly $84,932,000. From what I understand, and unfortunate, we're up against the clock with legislation as well, with these two bills we're waiting to hear on, which take a huge chunk out of this project as well. And I urge you, and I challenge you, and I'm going to challenge myself too, to look at this plan and see if we can come up with a way, strategically and collectively, to analyze other projects and come up with this money, and let's get it moved on this plan if possible. I'm hoping this legislation goes through. That's a huge deal. It sounds like from the city of Maricopa, we're pretty good. From the people there in Maricopa, they're ready to go as well. So I just urge you, and I request you to do that, and hopefully at the next meeting we can come back with a solution.
Kind of on that note, Chair Daniels and board member Howard, with the contribution that the city of Maricopa and the county of Pinal have come up with, and I know it's not enough to do the whole project, but one of the concerns is if we wait, is the timing of it. And I don't know why we can't look at phasing the project in. And if we've got $50 million sitting there that's available next year, and I understand now it's just for the widening and it's not for the infrastructure that we kind of talked about, that we supported in the work session. But I don't know why we can't target a certain area of 347, whether it's on the Pinal County side or the Maricopa County side, and at least start widening it in phases, if nothing else. It at least starts the project and hopefully gives the community some semblance of hope that things are moving. And if we start at one spot, it might take 5 years to get the whole thing done, but at least it's a start. And just the inflation factor alone, let's try to get as much as we can. And I think phasing might make a whole lot of sense. And if that is the case, I can't see a reason why we couldn't put a portion of the widening in this next fiscal year in the 5-year plan. So, anyhow, that was my comment.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I know the state engineer is trying to address it too. And I think the challenge for us is, remember, we do a 5-year plan every year. So there's always things to do. And I can guarantee you all the folks from Maricopa have done more than an adequate job of making their case. And I do believe there's ways for us to get portions of this in. And I would not, if we don't end up putting some of the widening or some other stuff where we still have to have the numbers figured out, I wouldn't take that as a loss, because it's incremental step. Or if we're allowed to, when we come down to it, we can put it in there knowing the financing is not in place yet. It's all a matter of the challenge I think we've got is there's no guarantee by the time we run up against our deadline for this 5-year plan the legislature is even going to have voted on their stuff. And so I think we all have the same direction going right now on this road project. I think we're going to get there. But I'd like to hear what we are and what we aren't allowed to put in there, depending on the commitments from the dollars, because we all know the 5-year plan changes every year.
It can change every month, yeah.
That's right.
And I apologize for going for the gusto on this, but at least we've got some dialogue going and some ideas. So,
Board Member Peshlikai?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have a question. As far as the public comment, what kind of outreach is done to the tribal nations and rural parts of Arizona?
So we have sent out email notifications. All 22 tribes, we have the contact information. When we send out the notifications to all public, we send to all 22 tribal nations as well.
Thank you. And when there is a response from a tribal Department of Transportation, is that given more weight as a tribal concern or project priority rather than just given a point on the chart?
So the prioritization that is given in any one of the comments that goes through is every single comment is weighted the same. But it is applied to whatever the comment goes towards. So if it's to a specific project, then obviously there's public comment that comes in specific to that project, which gives it weight. So that's kind of how our comments work.
Thank you. I'm just going to voice just some info, and because it's a problem that, what I see is a problem that can't be really resolved right away, or there's no quick fix. But there's a lot of folks here in Arizona that don't have access to the internet. Some of us don't even have electricity or running water. So that puts that whole population just being silenced by lack of infrastructure. And just like I said just now, I don't know how that could be fixed, but in a way it can be possibly addressed by giving more weight. I don't know if that's an unreasonable request, but somehow the value of their comments, or given some weight if it's maybe a tribe. I'm not sure, but you understand what I'm saying. It's hard for me to explain, but I just really wanted to say that because those folks are disenfranchised, not really truly represented, just because they don't have equal access to people that are in these urban areas that, even their 2-year-olds have a cell phone in their hand. So just wanted to say that, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Board Member Peshlikai. And I certainly can empathize with individuals who don't have access. Has been a key component, I think, of the public dialogue around broadband, the expansion of broadband, and the ability to access devices that would allow people to connect. And I do want to just reiterate that perhaps this is where leadership really can come in that individuals who don't have access are still in communication with their elected leadership. We have lots of people that are elected in our tribal nations and serve on board of supervisors, tribal councils, and also at the legislature and in county supervisor positions. So I would love to see those individuals reach out to their community as well and sort of make a call to action to leadership to extend that voice. I do believe, and I firmly believe, that every comment is equal in our state, meaning that regardless of where you live, we want to hear you and we value your contribution. And so I'm cognizant of that and would love to find additional channels for people's voices to be heard on the issues they care about, on all issues, but transportation obviously is our focus.
Madam Chair, Board Member Peshlikai, one of the ways that we kind of make sure that we're getting some of that information in is ADOT has 5 tribal liaisons that put more miles on vehicles than pretty much anybody else in the state. And that's what they do. They travel around the state to tribes on a regular basis. And one of the things that they bring up is just this. It's a 5-year program. It's trying to contribute any information that somebody has that wants to contribute. It gives us another means of being able to collect that data. So, and we do that on a regular basis.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Make a comment. Thank you, and I'm becoming familiar with those folks, and I appreciate their work and your work as well. And so, thank you.
Board Member Eldridge, did you have any comments on the comments that we've all received?
So Madam Chair, I was going to address one of the comments from Board Member Howard.
Please.
We do not have to have, and it's already been mentioned, but we do not have to have everything in place when we take and approve the new 5-year program. We're making changes every month. We make incremental changes, but that doesn't mean that we can't make a broader change if we see the need and the availability to do so. So please don't think that you're constrained to just this, because you're not. So.
And Greg, so the point being is we are fiscally constrained because of our own budget that we've approved.
Correct.
And a budget is a guess.
Correct.
So, and we're dealing with that right now when we're talking Regional Transportation Authority and FEMA and how much we're going to go for to the voters. It's a guess on what that half-cent sales tax is going to bring. So what we have to make sure is either we change the number or we change the projects. And that's right now, because we've established our bottom line, we have to move a project out or moving one in, unless we change the bottom line.
Correct.
Thank you, sir.
All right, I think that summarizes all the questions on 5A and 5B. And we'll move on to agenda item 6, the AZ SMART program. And then we'll come back on agenda item 7.
Thank you, Madam Chair and the members of the board. Item 6 is the AZ Smart Fund program. There are no applications this month under this program.
I guess we're good then. I wasn't sure if we were still going to get sort of an update on where everything was, but sounds good. I knew we weren't going to vote on one, but all right. Moving on to 7 then.
Yes.
Carry on.
So now I will present item number 7, Priority Planning Advisory Committee action items to the board for discussion and possible action. So today we have 2 categories of projects to present: project modifications and new projects. I plan to group the project modifications and new projects under one motion for the board's consideration.
Thank you, Iqbal. And real quick, just in the interest of time, are there any of these items that the board wishes to discuss further? Richard has one? Board Member Searle?
Yes, 7E, we just like some clarification on.
7.
And I believe this is actually being asked to be removed, the funding for sculpting on this. I think I understand why, but I just make sure that we're on the same page. And this is the sculpting for the US 91 Cochise TI on I-10.
So, Madam Chair and the board member Sarol, your question is why it was removed?
Yes.
Okay. So we did some research on it. We talked to the technical team and the district, and they decided at that time that we do not need this project anymore. Specific
project was going to be what?
This project will be deleted.
What was the original intent of the scoping? What was the original improvement that was expected?
The original improvement was to do a study on the intersection.
Just the study?
The study.
Okay.
Board Member Maxwell?
And this has been a choke point on Ken for the oversized loads for many, many years. And I think that's what the reason for the scope of the project was. When the overpass was damaged a year and a half ago by that fire, they did build a shoe fly that allows wide loads to go around it. So I think that is, that would be my guess is why it's being removed. I was just looking for clarification. Mr. Byers.
You are absolutely correct. That's why we took and pulled this, because we now have a means of being able to take those wide loads or over height loads and pull them around.
All right, thank you.
Terrific. Board Member Maxwell has
I have two, but first I want to make a comment I didn't make earlier. I really am disappointed that Sarah Ogilvie couldn't be here today to explain to her father, or grandfather? Father.
That's my daughter. Yes.
Your daughter. To her father why she wasn't getting things done in his section. So I missed that opportunity. Two questions. One's on 7B. Army Corps liaison is a very critical position. So are we getting a second liaison? Is that why the price of the program went from $364 to $546? I mean, that's a 50% increase in the program. I guess it's just a number that jumped out at me, and I was just wondering.
So
what's changed to increase 50% increase on an individual?
We're talking about item 7B.
Yeah, so we paid the Army Corps of Engineers to have people to expedite the ADOS projects through their process.
Correct.
I don't think it was one position. I thought we had 4. I'm trying to go by memory.
I understand the importance of it in the process. I'm just wondering what led to a 50% increase.
So
the tariff.
That's how rumors get started.
Strike that from the record.
Those costs are dictated to us in order for us to maintain the liaisons that we have for federal agencies. So we have them for multiple agencies, but that number is dictated to us.
Okay, so
We got the bill.
So we got the bill, and nothing has changed on anything we're getting other than the cost.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. And the other one is really more of a statement on 7C. Understand that the new subphase of the Tier 1 EIS is part of the court solution. What I would ask is, this is going to be a very important issue for ADOT. One, personally, to keep, because a lot of the problems are within my district, to keep us informed. I think to keep all of our board members who this is going to impact roads, a potential future road in their district, informed of the meetings, the outreach, when it's going to happen, because those who are behind the lawsuit that led to this will be there in force, I am sure. But the question is, are those who really support this project and participate in the Tier 1, we want to make sure that they get the opportunity to as well. So this, to me, is a big item. I understand the cost is kind of out of our control. It's a court order thing where we need to comply with. But I think it's important for ADOT to make sure we message the opportunity for input into the subphase of this Tier 1.
Madam Chair and the Board Member Maxwell will make sure that we take proper action to make sure to outreach to them properly.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Additional item or on this same one?
Same.
Okay, perfect. Go ahead. And I'll
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, I had a similar question. I would take it one step further. It would be really important and very valuable to the board to understand what it is that the department is being asked to do. $3 million is a large sum of money. With that, I think it would be helpful to the board and to myself to understand what exactly was completed and what is being requested going forward. Thank you.
Perhaps we can make that a future agenda item. I'm jumping to the end of our agenda, but let's have an I-11 update. It is an important element, so could we request that to be presented to the board? And I also want to see the conversation with one additional item, and that is that the Tier 2 dollars that have been identified and set aside by the legislature a couple sessions ago for the I-11 Tier 2 was for one segment of independent utility from the US 93 down to the I-10. That is not the targeted element of the lawsuit, and so in having some additional conversations, and I'm going outside of the scope just a little bit because I'm giving you background to provide for a future agenda item. But there has been precedence that in other states to have Tier 1s broken up into those independent segments of utility so that you could proceed with the Tier 2 on a separate segment. That question was asked of ADOT a few months ago, and we were told that that is not a possibility. But since that time, I've done some additional research and found that there is precedent for breaking up a Tier 1 and proceeding with Tier 2. So I just want to flag that as also part of the dialogue for the future agenda item.
Madam Chair, can I add one comment? Because this has come up at the legislature already. There are some legislators out there that are talking about doing it. And the question I've got for ADOT is if a judge makes a ruling on some board like that, should it be our responsibility to then question the judge to that specific question that Chair Daniels just mentioned, or do we really want to rely on the legislature to have to come in and get that solution? Because as we're seeing with some of the earlier legislative issues we've talked about, they're going to be very good at legislating what we can and can't do. But sometimes that is perhaps because of our lack of action. And this is one that I really think would be good for, if possible, and if that probably have to go to the director. If the director wants to, somebody needs to ask the judge to clarify this, because there is funding available to continue on a Tier 2 for a segment of utility that has nothing to do with the part that was answered by the court case. But because the judge just said, I-11, everything needs to cease, that money's not being able to go forward. Unless we're wrong and we've started the Tier 2 on that segment, but I don't believe we have.
So to make sure we don't go outside of our agenda, that's our request for future agenda items.
Madam Chair, I already made a note of that, and we will talk about the legal part, because I'm going to agree with you. You can break up into Tier 1s, except in this lawsuit they're joined together, and we have not been able to separate them. But the other part being is the Department of Justice is actually leading that effort for the federal government, because they're suing the record of decision, which is a federal action. And so there's a lot of players in here.
Let's take it
that has to
offline
be done.
and make sure we agendize for the
Yep.
future.
Yes, ma'am, and we will include an update and have that discussion.
Thank you. Okay, we have gone through all of the project modifications and the new projects, and I will ask the board for a motion on item 7A through 7L.
Can we see the next slide for the,
Or did you have an additional?
yeah, we really didn't discuss H through L, but that's okay.
I
And
asked.
I'll make a motion that we approve items 7A through 7L.
Thank you, board member Searle.
Second.
We have a motion by board member Searle and a second by board member Elters. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? That motion carries with a 6-0 vote. Thank you. All right, we'll move to agenda.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
We'll move to agenda item 8. And look to Greg to assist us.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, board members. For item 8, we have 86 projects that are under construction worth $2.9 billion. 5 projects were finalized in March worth $32.1 million. Fiscal year to date, we have 65 projects finalized. So as far as what we got going on across the entire state, this doesn't continue all the way across. That's why this keeps falling off. We'll start off with the South Central District. So We have SR 87 at Skousen Road. This project is about 88% complete. They're currently working under a stop work order for equipment that is currently on order. They are finishing up some of the items that they can do, so they're finishing up some pavement and so forth, but it's basically going to be on hold until that equipment comes in to actually arrives on site. Next project is the I-10 widening, Ina to Ruthroff. That project's 81% complete. Most of the work that's being done today is on the Sunset Road overpass. Other than that, the road is pretty much complete. They've got all of the road onto the main line, or all the traffic's on the main line, and once they can complete the ramps for Sunset, then that will be ready to be opened. It's scheduled to be opened right now for the end of this year. I-10 at Country Club to Keno, which is a design build project. The final bids from the developers are due in June. Once we receive those, then we can start that project and get it kicked off. We're looking at the second notice to proceed to be in June of this year. The next one we have is I-19 to Irvington TI. That project is working on environmental and right-of-way clearances and is anticipated to go out for bid, let's see here, spring of 26 is what we've got. And then we also have SR90, which is the Border Patrol Station to Mosen Road, right down the street here, not too far. That project's currently at 55%. Contractor has 2 crews running on that project, trying to get it completed as quick as they can. Right now we're looking at the end of this project being completed the end of summer of this year.
Greg?
Yes?
I know it's on your report, but just like to comment, it was brought up earlier that the housing lane on the 10 you're coming out of Benson is just about finished.
Yep.
And it's been long needed. But I do have a question, a follow-up if you could get with Jeremy for me, and that's on Highway 80, that St. David Bridge. It's still not 100%. It's not fully completed, and I would like to know when the final completion for the overlay is expected.
I can find out for you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. So the next one we have is North Central District. First project we have is the Townsend Wina to Sunset Crater Point drainage repairs. That's on US 89. That project should be running through fall of this year to be completed. Next one we have is on I-40. It's a broadband that we've got going from the California state line all the way to basically Flagstaff. Right now that project is about 20% complete. They're swapping gears and jumping from that most western side to Flagstaff area on I-40 to get that broadband put in, because we have 2 upcoming projects on I-40. We need to get that in so that it is done before those 2 projects kick off. The next one we have is the roundabout for the city of Flagstaff. That is currently about 6% complete, and we're looking at having that done by fall of this year. The next item we have is Southwest District. So for it, we've got the I-10 Solemn Road to Tonopah. Right now, that project is at about 10% complete. And we're looking at about a completion date. I thought I had a completion date on here. It's estimated for October of this year. The next one is SR 95, Tyson Street to off Quartzsite. It's a pavement preservation project. It's about 34% complete. We're looking at it being completed in September of 25. And then the last one is or not the last one, but the port of entry is going on right now. It's about, let's see here, 60% complete. and we're continuing with it. There's estimated completion is June of 25. And then the last one is SR 85, I-8 drainage improvements. There's a box culvert that we're trying to take care of on that, and right now it's at about 55% complete, and it should be completed by June. Next one we have is the Southeast District, which is, the first one we have is US 91, the 7th Street to milepost 173. We've got paving work going on it. It should start probably this week. It may have already started this week or next week, and will be ongoing. Next project we have is Medicine Way Road to milepost 275 on US 70. That project is currently under design. We're anticipating having it advertised June 20th of this year. And then the last one we have is East Wilcox TI. For that one, it's about 67% complete, and we're looking at having it completed about February, the beginning of February. Next one is Northwest District. For it, we've got the Rancho Santa Fe Parkway that we're working on. That project is about 14% complete. Right now they're working on some of the ramps, doing earthwork as well as some water line installation. Next one is I-40. That's from the California border to Needle Mountain. That project is a pavement preservation project, and they're currently working on the paving as well as some barrier work. They're about 42% complete on that project. And then US 93, Cane Springs. That project, it's an expansion project, and we're looking at it being 12% complete. They're just basically kicking that project off. Next one is Northeast District. We've got the US 160 from 416 to 440 project going on with it. Pavement rehab project that just started here, as a matter of fact, within the last couple of weeks. Next project we have is I-40. This is 8th Avenue in Holbrook. Let's see here. For it, we're looking at it's a deck repair project and some milling for the deck itself. Right now we're looking at it's just starting up. They're going to have to replace some sleeper slabs on that project to get it going before they do the deck work. And then the last one we have is SR 73 at the 260 junction. This is installation of sidewalks and some lighting. For that, they're just working on the curb and gutter as we speak today. Next one is Central District. For it, we've got the SR 101 Princess de Chez. That project is about 67% complete. They're actually doing pretty good on it. We also have the SR 101, the I-17 to the 75th Avenue, which is about 22% complete. That project is on schedule and going very well. We have the 303 and US 60. It's the interim work that we're doing for the interchange. That project is about 75% complete, and they're actually doing pretty well on that one as well. We have the US 60, Sosaman to Meridian. That project is almost 50% complete. It's actually doing well, trying to maintain the traffic on it as we're going through construction on that. It's a little bit difficult, but they're getting it done. The SR 202, Val Vista to SR 101. This is an expansion project. They're adding a lane in each direction. It's 28% complete, and they're actually doing pretty good on it as well. The last one we have is the I-10 Gila River Bridge, which what will be the eastbound bridge is now carrying the westbound traffic on the new bridge. We've demoed the old bridge. So both the old bridges are now, one of the old bridges is gone. We've got traffic halfway on each one, so they'll keep on going with it. So the project is, for best bet, halfway done at this point. So, and that's pretty much what I had for what's going on across the state. So.
Any questions for Greg? You guys aren't busy at all. There's a lot going on. Okay, we can move to agenda item 9, and in the interest of efficiency, are there any of these 9A to 9D that any of the board would like additional information on?
Just for clarification, which was it C and D that were in the consent agenda?
Yes.
3C and D were in the consent agenda, so we need action on A, B.
Madam Chair, Mr. Searle, those are two separate projects that were in the consent agenda. There are 4 under item 9 that would have been separate awarded or lumped together if that's what the board.
Okay, yeah, I'm just looking for clarification. And, you know, just for purposes of procedure to move this thing, I'll just make a motion right up front to approve the projects 9A through 9B.
Second. We have a motion by board member Chu and a second by board member Maxwell. All in favor, please say aye.
Well, if you've got any questions, this would be a great time.
No one had any.
I thought this hand reached.
Can I ask, who's going to vote? No? Do you have questions? Oh,
Don't get me started.
you can have the whole floor. That's fine. All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Happy
Hearing
Easter.
none. That
Thank you.
motion carries with a 6-0 vote.
That's your Easter present, Greg.
All right, that moves us to agenda item 10. We've already made one suggestion under this agenda item to have an I-11 update. Any additional agenda items that our board would like to have? I would like to thank staff for the study session on 347 that was held a couple of, was it last Friday? Yep, last Friday. Really appreciate the information and update. I thought it was a great process for us to do a deep dive, and would like to make a suggestion that when there are larger projects like that, this forum doesn't always allow for us to really sort of deeply study particular projects, but when we can, I think that that's a great one. And maybe, I know we've had a lot of updates on the Douglas Port of Entry, but hearing from the mayor today and also the county supervisor recognizing the importance, I might suggest that at a future date we have an update on that port of entry as well. Not necessarily for next month, but I'm happy to bring it back up as a study session item if your time.
So, Madam Chair, I show 2 items.
Okay.
You had asked for a discussion in May, our communication plan for the rollout of removing alternative fuel vehicles from the HOV lane, even though it's set by statute, federal statute, but we talk about the ADOS plan and how we're communicating that and who we're reaching out to.
Amy can just bring that back during legislative update.
Oh, okay.
That doesn't have to be a separated agenda item, but if she could just provide that update at the next meeting. Unless somebody feels otherwise.
Okay, and then we'll be back I-11, comprehensive look at the lawsuit, the actions we're taking, and how we're, and what options do we have to move that forward.
Correct, thank you. All right. Any other additional comments from the board? Again, thank you to the City of Benson. This meeting is adjourned.